Oh my gosh, we're finally hanging out after so long. I can't wait to catch up with you about everything.
Literally, me too.
But there's honestly been something weighing on my mind, like a lot.
You can tell me, is it college?
No, not that.
Losing a spork?
No, why would you think that?
Could be our future currency.
Okay, that's valid reasoning. But the thing that's been weighing on my mind is K-pop Demon Hunters. I know it sounds crazy, but K-pop Demon Hunters just has this inexplicable charm to it. In all technicality, it may be cliche, it may be not super groundbreaking, but when I see an homage to K-pop fandom and the true theme of accepting yourself completely. And also, it definitely helps that the animation is literally stunning. The songs are certified hits. To be honest, I don't want to just restate what the internet has said. What I really want to discuss is how K-pop Demon Hunters compares to a beloved classic of the 2000s, 2010s. I'm pretty sure it was 2010s. I want to talk about what K-pop Demon Hunters truly is. K-pop Demon Hunters is a reimagining of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic lore without the horsing around.
I'm just like you. I think that's true. You're just like me. Yes, I can see.
If you didn't pay attention to the start of the movie, or if you haven't given this movie a chance yet, before we jump into my crazy analysis of the connections between My Little Pony and K-pop Demon Hunters, let me provide you a little bit of the movie's lore. To keep the world in balance from the chaos brought by demons, a musical group who doubly functions as demon hunters came into the spotlight. With their music, they safeguard a layer of magic called the Honmun, which locks away demons. And that's basically all I'm going to tell you. And that's because I really think you should watch this movie. It's genuinely spectacular. So if you do genuinely decide you want to watch it, go watch it and then come back. I'd really appreciate it. I'm aware I had a bit of a costume change, but I'm ready to explain myself. I'm ready to explain the possible connection between My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and K-pop Demon Hunters. And that connection starts with looking at the main cast.
Stirring deep inside, it's like a tale still yet to be told.
In My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, we have the main six, while in K-pop Demon Hunters, we have Huntrix. The main six in My Little Pony, they're the six ponies who are all friends, who have to work together to save Equestria time and time again. And a lot of the time, they use the elements of harmony to achieve this piece. What are the elements of harmony? Well, in the most simplest way possible, they are just qualities that you'd want in a friendship.
Which are also a form of magic.
Each of the main six kind of represents an element of harmony.
Just a reminder, Huntrix is the chart-topping K-pop girl group who are also demon hunters that preserve peace in the universe of K-pop Demon Hunters.
There's a lot of surface level things that Huntrix and the main six have in common, but aside from fun character designs and fun personalities, these main casts share the idea of flawed versus flawless. In their respective universes, they're compared to some standard imposed by society. For the main six, they deal with this conflict of flawed versus flawless every single day because they are supposed to be symbols of the elements of harmony. And we see this conflict explicitly explored later in the show. They literally have a song called Flawless, which is about not being perfect.
So tell me what you got to, 'cause I still like what's flawed about you.
Correction, I looked at the episode again and this song is about accepting flaws. But The standards they call out in this song are more complex than just the elements of harmony. With this song, the main six are trying to push against the assumption that they are flawless masters of friendship and untouchable characters slash idols.
Huntrix deals with this conflict because they have pressure from the K-pop industry telling them they have to be these perfect idols. But on the other hand, they have pressure from Celine.
In K-pop Demon Hunters, Celine was a member of the K-pop girl group the Sunlight Sisters alongside with Rumi's mom, and she was also a demon hunter. Ever since Rumi's mother passed away, she has taken on the role of Rumi's mentor slash mother figure.
Telling them to be these faithful demon hunters that never stray away from that path. We see this conflict especially shown in Rumi's character arc throughout the movie because she has demon heritage, and that makes both of those things a little more complicated. She ends up covering up a lot.
When I say covering up, I'm talking about how Rumi uses different strategies to hide her demon patterns. And if we're going to take this a little step further, this represents how she hates the contradiction that these patterns provide. It contradicts the image of an idol that she's trying to portray to the public, and it contradicts the role of the demon hunter that was given to her.
But by the end of the movie, she starts to realize that these things can coexist. Her demon heritage can exist without sacrificing her demon hunter heritage. Both narratives encourage acceptance of our flaws, but they also show us that these flaws can be exploited.
Towards the end of K-pop Demon Hunters, demons impersonate Mira and Zoe, Rumi's bandmates. And by impersonating them, they literally act out one of Rumi's greatest fears, which is that her friends won't accept her for her identity, which is part demon, part demon hunter. And because they are constantly pushing on this insecurity, Rumi ends up losing control of herself and her resolve weakens. In My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Discord, one of the earlier antagonists who becomes a protagonist in later seasons, it's a little complicated and we'll get into it later. He uses the greatest fears of the main six against them. Specifically, he creates nightmare scenarios for each of them and ends up making them lose their minds essentially, which breaks up their powerful friendship. In both K-pop Demon Hunters and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, both stories explore the risk of flaws being exploited in a similar way. The flaws used against the main characters hold them back at first, breaking down their courage while letting antagonists advance. But after some reflection, they realize the strengths of who they are, reunite with their loved ones, and take care of business with rediscovered confidence. Both stories show us that flaws make us vulnerable, but can bring us strength with a change in perspective. Rumi and Twilight are great examples of this. The demons and Discord respectively push them to their breaking points by acting out their insecurities, effectively amplifying the existence of them. Being pushed to rock bottom makes both characters spiral, and in order to handle this, they consult some sort of wisdom. Rumi has a conversation with Celine after being exposed as part demon, and this conversation brings her to the realization that shame required to be flawless is not worth it, and her acceptance of her flaws brings her the courage to take on the demons before they break the honeymoon for good. This realization also pushes Rumi to reunite with Mira and Zoe. Similarly, with the whole Discord situation, Twilight gets supported by Princess Celestia through Princess Celestia sending back Twilight's letters about friendship. Reading through those letters is what helps Twilight find the breakthrough that saves her friendships and thus ultimately unravels Discord's antics. Both stories show us that flaws make us vulnerable, but can bring us strength through a change in perspective. Before I move on to the next topic, I want to mention one more thing that the main cast in both media have in common. Their characterizations demonstrate that all heroes have their own internal biases. Huntrix struggle to accept that demons can be multidimensional, in the same way that most of the main six struggle to accept that Discord could be reformed. Both Huntrix and the main six have to confront the error of their views through witnessing some circumstance that challenges it. When Huntrix realize that Rumi is part demon, their ingrained mentality of all demons bad starts to break. The main six see Discord listen to Fluttershy, the literal representation of kindness, and this starts to kind of push their walls down. I will say that this transformation isn't displayed as a one and done deal. The characters make massive progress in changing their views, minimizing harmful internal biases, but seeing this single circumstance doesn't transform them completely. They still hold some of those biases. So they still proceed to destroy demons without thinking through whether these demons deserve to die. For the main six, they still have hesitation when they're near Discord at the end of this little arc. I think this is powerful and accurate because in reality, it takes time, effort, and care to truly change and be better. To make stories real, you have to consider that.
You know how Huntrix changed into full leather outfits when they were about to face the Saja Boys on a variety TV show?
The Saja Boys are a demon boy band that's supposed to help Guima harvest souls.
We just wanted to stop by and congratulate our Hoopers on their debut
And of course, play games with us!
That's what this is supposed to represent.
battle ready.
Because we're about to discuss one of the most dangerous yet complex parts of a storyline: the antagonist, the enemy, the characters you're supposed to hate but end up loving. In K-pop Demon Hunters, the main villainous force are the demons, and specifically in the universe, we are introduced to Guima, who is the biggest, baddest demon of all, and he controls the other demons through shame, guilt, and fear. In the My Little Pony universe, on the other hand, the villainy isn't so streamlined. The villainy comes from so many different places. I actually had to consult the My Little Pony wiki.
It's time you learned a lesson.
Discord is one of My Little Pony's earliest antagonists, and he earned his public enemy #1 spot not because he's inherently evil, but rather because he's just a general hazard to society.
I'm so sorry, Discord. I meant this with love, I promise.
He has the ability to create chaos from nothing, and more times than not, the chaos that he creates can have intense consequences. It's not super great for preserving the peace in pony society.
Chaos is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Although Discord can be selfish and misguided and rather narrow-minded,
I am done with you, tree hugger.
Oh, dude, what is that?
Relax, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm simply going to send you to another dimension. I can't have you interfering in my relationship with Fluttershy anymore.
he has the capacity to open up his heart and support others, because in later seasons, he actually uses his ability to support his friends in a rather roundabout way.
One example of this is when Discord tests Twilight by teaching villains the power of friendship. This happens in the last season of the show, and he's trying to test Twilight before she becomes the ruler of Equestria. However, his plan kind of backfires because the villains almost take over Equestria. It's not just like a practice round. Thankfully, though, Twilight is a networking queen, so she and her connections got them through this battle.
But he still tries to support his friends nonetheless. Discord's nature is to disrupt harmony, so he couldn't really recognize the value of friendship until he was given the chance to experience being cared for and being respected for who he is completely.
Because if I don't, I'll lose the one friend I ever had.
Because he was given this trust and compassion, he gained the insight needed to work against his past mistakes and eventually worked his way up to becoming a hero. He literally saved Equestria and got awarded for it.
Essentially, Discord and some other minor characters rescued powerful ponies from being trapped in the Changeling Kingdom.
To go from terrorizing Equestria alone to saving Equestria with others just demonstrates how dramatically Discord has changed. It demonstrates how giving Discord another chance allowed him to prove himself and prove that he was inherently good, not bad. In K-pop Demon Hunters, we're introduced to the idea that not all demons are bad. But the movie doesn't really elaborate on this. That's where Discord's character transformation comes in. It provides a model that we can use to dissect the possible redemption of demons. Similar to how we extend humanity to those who may be different than us, it's important to extend empathy to these demons. They have feelings and flaws just like any other human. If humans understand demons and help them work through their shortcomings, it literally benefits everyone because Huntrix gets to relax, humans are endangered less, and innocent demons get to live without being tormented, and they get to live in a fun place. They get to live without darkness, rocks, and eternal sadness. Which is the dream, in my opinion. If there's a demon that does actually enjoy that, they can enjoy that. I'm not going to force them into this human world, which is sometimes sunshiny, sometimes really horrible.
This is totally possible given Guima, that mean, grumpy puddle of flames, is actually gone. The only issue after that is economic. How do we balance the needs and wants of people and demons? Well, to that, I'm no expert, but we have economists and human rights advocates for a reason.
Another antagonist in My Little Pony which connects to the story of the demons are the sirens.
I know that the main sirens in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic are called the Dazzlings, but I'll just be referring to them as the sirens just so I don't mix up the words dazzlings and demons.
And I've seen some stuff online already about them, but I hope my analysis is a little original. Off the bat, there are a lot of similarities between the two because they both sing songs, they both kind of control/steal souls. Yeah, there's definitely a lot in their basic characterization that's similar. But I would say that when you look at their motivation and purpose, it's a little bit different because the sirens in My Little Pony, they're like Discord but malicious. They're supposed to break up the peace using their musical powers. They can use their voices to control the minds of others. In the My Little Pony universe, the predecessors to the main six took down these sirens by sending them to the human world in the My Little Pony universe. There's a pony world and there's a human world in this universe. Just let's keep it at that. But then in Rainbow Rocks, the sirens are defeated again. The human equivalent of the main six plus Sunset Shimmer literally use their musical powers to destroy their magical gems, which allow the sirens to have this enchanting singing. In both instances of being defeated, the sirens were spared because when the protagonists defeated them, they didn't lose their lives. They just lost something that would give them power. So, in the first instance, they lost access to the pony world, which would probably enhance their magic. And in the second instance, they lost their magic itself because the protagonists, the main six, in human form plus Sunset Shimmer, destroyed their gemstones, enabling them to use their magic. I honestly don't know if I'm making sense, but the point is that the sirens were given the chance to continue living.
The sirens show up in later Equestria Girls content, but they aren't causing trouble like they did in Rainbow Rocks, where they literally controlled the minds of the whole high school using their magic. In fact, in Sunset's Backstage Pass, one of the Equestria Girls specials episodes, I don't know. Sunset, one of the main characters, falsely accuses the sirens of time looping. In response, the dialogue the main siren has, Adagio, indicates true reflection on the sirens' mistake of manipulating others. Their delivery is kind of funny when they do this, but to be fair, growth takes a while and it can look different for everyone. So I won't hate on them too much for that.
I thought if anyone would want to be able to redo the day and fix their mistakes, it's you three.
We made the mistake of using our powers to manipulate Canterlot High School, and we've paid the price for it. With our magic. What I'm saying is, we already get a do-over with every new day. It's called living life.
You should try it sometime.
With the My Little Pony universe, there is such a strong emphasis on the idea that we can grow and become better. There's a fundamental difference between the sirens in My Little Pony and the demons in Kpop Demon Hunters, and that comes from agency. The sirens in My Little Pony chose to cause mess in the My Little Pony universe, while in Kpop Demon Hunters, the demons didn't necessarily choose that life. They just felt like they had no other option because Guima was manipulating them so much. We can clearly see this with Jinwoo.
Guima.
He was taking advantage of these painful circumstances and using it to turn these troubled beings into his personal servants, basically. Because Guima has degraded, belittled, and caused so much pain for these demons, they've lost their sense of power. It has weathered their resolve. So honestly, the fear and shame that controls the demons distorts their idea of how much agency they have. They think that they're powerless because Guima has made them think that they're powerless. In this sense, the demons are victims. Another difference between the sirens and the demons comes from how they deal with souls. The sirens control souls, while demons take souls. Also, the demons don't have souls of their own anymore because Guima has robbed them of that. They just exist without this part of who they are. They exist without the essence of their existence.
I think the demons steal souls because they feel empty inside and want to fill that void. They feel aimless. But they can still feel, whether it be hunger, brief joy, sorrow, or most of all, fear. Given that Rumi overpowered the dark parts of her demon side, I think the logic of the movie means the demons can have a workaround to this issue as well. Memories, work, there has to be something which allows them to exist. And honestly, that would be a crazy cool concept to explore in the next movie.
Out of all the antagonists in My Little Pony, the changelings are the most similar to the demons in K-pop Demon Hunters because they just have so many parallels, not just in their characterization, but in their plot lines too. And I'll run it to you through voiceover Sunny in like 3, 2, 1.
To give you a bit of context on the changelings, they were previously ruled by Queen Chrysalis, who strongly controlled their mindset. Also, in the Canterlot wedding 2-part episode situation, Cadence mentions that changelings feed off the love for a specific pony that they're disguised as. But we can also see that they have zapping powers and some immobilizing sticky sap. The My Little Pony universe kind of builds a scary image around changelings. The two groups have way more in common than you think. On the surface, they both have the duality of a scary look versus a cute look, but they also have/had an overlord who controls them, have shape-shifting capabilities, are capable of having emotional complexity and care for others, deal with hive mind to some extent, and are given no empathy until friendships are created between a character from their group and a character not fully from their group, which I'll be discussing right after this. There are a few differences though. Demons deal with shame on a daily basis, while the changelings are just generally viewed poorly by society. One key difference between the demons and the changelings is that the changelings have a wider array of powers at their disposal. Also, demons resemble humans while changelings resemble ponies. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments, but based on this, the changelings and the demons share a lot.
In My Little Pony, Spike, one of the main confidants to the main six, or just the tiny purple dragon, befriends a changeling named Thorax, and the friendship that blossoms from here allows us as the viewer to empathize more with the changelings. It kind of helps erode the villainous image that they were given. Similarly, in K-pop Demon Hunters, the same thing happens with Rumi and Jinwoo, because Jinwoo represents the demons, this antagonistic force that we're supposed to hate. But through seeing the friendship, and maybe more, that builds between Rumi and Jinwoo, that hate kind of dissolves. And we become more understanding of the demons.
The friendships are a bit different though. Spike and Thorax are very different, but it's the common effort to get to know each other that allows their friendship to thrive. On the other hand, in K-pop Demon Hunters, Rumi and Jinwoo share a background that brings them closer together. Although the starting point of these relationships are different, the vulnerability and compassion in both of them is what bridges the gap between the beings in each pair. And this shows us that the foundation of empathy is being open, being willing to respecting and caring for the other side.
So, honestly, based on this, if we can extend humanity in this way through at least one person, why can't we extend humanity to all the demons? The demons got slashed, while the changelings got to be transformed by compassion. And that leaves me to ask, why didn't we explore an ending of K-pop Demon Hunters like that? If the whole point is to accept yourself for who you are and kind of to give yourself grace, why did we not explore an arc like that?
After the changelings were freed from Queen Chrysalis's horrible reign, they were transformed internally and externally. And this is similar to how Rumi gets iridescent patterns on her skin at the end of the movie, where she's finally accepted her demon heritage. Based on this clear parallel, I think that it is very feasible for the demons to experience a similar transformation and be freed from the torment that Guima has put them through. They can be freed and be allowed to exist without harming anyone. I expected this video to be silly and light and fun, but then my overthinking brain took the reins and now you got this messy analysis. But beyond the parameters of simple compare and contrast, I do think there is a real point that got lost in Equestria or in South Korea. Regardless, both pieces of media are clear reminders for us to recognize and accept our flaws, keep growing in our character, and give others a chance, no matter how different they may be from us. The line of where that empathy ends is quite blurry, but the brilliance in both media shows us where it starts.
As much as I love K-pop Demon Hunters, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is the blueprint. So many wonderful plot lines, so many valuable life lessons. I'm sorry for yelling at you, I'm just very passionate. If a creative from K-pop Demon Hunters is watching this video right now, hi. I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity right now. I hope you enjoyed my video, and if you were honestly inspired by one of my points, you should cite me in the credits for the next movie, please and thank you. But you don't have to. It would just be very, very appreciated. Anyways, if you liked hearing me out on this random piece of media, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can join in on the fun. Honestly, with the amount of screaming, I might have broken the Hanmoon. Sorry, guys.